Ah, yes, the 3-second rule. This is where you drop some food on the ground, and if you pick it up in 3 seconds or less, then you can still eat it.
Teach you meatball, we're talking about the 40-second rule. You know, the Valorant rule, since we're a Valorant channel.
Ah, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I get it. So yeah, the 40-second rule. This concept is one that is really well understood by every top player in the world. Especially if you're a support player, you're really going to want to dial into this one, because this rule is going to help out your game a ton. So what is it? So for those of you who don't know, most signature abilities in Valorant refresh in about 40 seconds. Breach's Fault Line, Sova's Recon Dart, Skye's Flashes, all of these strong abilities take 40 seconds to recharge. But why is this so important? Well, it's important to recognize these time limits. When enemies default using their utility, the sight hit is usually going to occur in about 40 seconds, when their abilities refresh. Having this internal timer allows you to recognize timings that other players, well, might not recognize. With this timer, you could preemptively use your utility to disrupt an execute or even get valuable information for your team. For example, let's say that the enemy team took mid early in the round, and the timer is now around 40 to 50 seconds. This would be a good time to use some of your utility. Throw a dart into B main to tell if it's a B hit. You could knife A main as Kayo, or even a quick flash peek would be enough to catch the enemy off guard and get important info. Timings like these apply to all roles too, not just initiators. They just have the strongest abilities. Let me explain. Let's say that you're playing Omen and you smoke door on a sent A site in an exec. In 15 seconds, you're going to need to re-smoke it, as door is an awkward area to hold off. Or as Brimstone, your smokes fade after about 20 seconds, and your team is going to need you to refresh them to hold map control. Viper mains need to manage their fuel. At around these 40-second marks, that's when they should put their smokes up. Or if they're in the post plan, she needs to manage how much fuel she wants to spend on her wall, or how much she wants to save for her orb for her lineups. This applies to sentinels too. Like if you're playing against a chamber and you push him off an angle, you have to expect him to get back into an off angle in around 20 seconds. This is how long his rendezvous takes to recharge. Or if you play Sage and the timer is around 45 seconds, you should place your wall in a choke, as that's how long it takes to crumble on its own. Depending on what role you play, what you play against, and what situations you're in, there are going to be these 40-second rules for each. Let's say your team just planted the spike and you're playing against a Sova. It's safe to say that he used his arrow at the beginning of the round. Now you need to expect another one to come in for the retake. Have someone pre-aim this thing so that you guys don't get destroyed by it. Or let's say you're playing against a breach on Haven. Most breaches will stun A main at the start of the round in order to gain lobby control. But when the post plan comes in, he'll probably use it to stun default and graffiti. With this information, you need to save something to counteract it to make the retake harder. You could flash defender spawn, throw a molly, or maybe have a stun of your own. But if you recognize this timing, then you won't be caught off guard by them using this utility, and you'll be ready to counter it. Now, before we show you some examples, we at SkillCapped have tons of useful rules that we show off over on our website. Rules like win conditions, proper communication, timings, how to clutch. These are all broken down by radiant coaches at SkillCapped.com. So if you want to rank up faster, be sure to check out our website. So now we know what the rule is, the situations in which you need to know it. Now let's see it in action. This round comes from a match between Evil Geniuses and FaZe. This round literally is a perfect example for this rule. Here, watch.
Pressure one side, but then you can basically just have Phoenix be that. You know, usually I feel like in the past he was always like kind of an A main player on defaults on attack. Mostly because the orb's so easy to get. But also because, again, you can just do so much by yourself.
Corner Prowler will allow them. Nanoswarm over the top. And here comes the hit, actually. Full dissection. Great look at the smoke look, plus also the haunt over the top. It gets EG in towards the site, but they have not seen Flya. Boostio's low, and oh my gosh. The pre-fire just gets so much damage done, but is it really enough? Flya still gets one, allows the defense to still take that extra step forward in towards contesting this, and oh, what a snap that is from Poise. One more through B main before you can focus on the spike itself. The Poise is committed into the hallway. And that will be the cause of his death, leaving Supa to the 1v3 as Apoth stuck in the corner. But Apoth can just keep throwing shoulders, and that's going to be enough for Supa to get on towards site. Just 6 shots left, though, and he will get tagged up beyond recognition. EG, they've only lost 1 pin.
Now, there's nothing flashy about this, but EG uses both Fade's Haunt and KO's 0 point to take A main. They hold, rotate to B, and decide to hit when all of the utilities recharged and ready to go. Their execute looks really clean, but had they just sat A main and wanted to re-hit it, the enemy Kayo could have stopped them with his knife. Had the round went a bit further, Kayo would have knifed A main, saw nothing, then go cheat over towards B. And notice how in this round, the hit came in at about the 50-second mark, like I mentioned before. This round was played beautifully by Evil Geniuses, and they did a good job of recognizing their timings. Let's look at another round. This one comes from a match between 100 Thieves and NRG.
Use that wall to cover B, fake that a little bit, and then have smokes to follow up with a re-hit.
And they've made it so clear on the side of NRG that they're willing to fight and contest for both showers and short.
To see if they're pushing, and this time he confirms somebody. They go into carpet. So here comes the hit, and it's not even clearing. Hayes is on top of the box. Slow comes through.
It hit nobody. And there are still 3 members on the site. Prowler, slowed. Som, backside, showstopper. He tries, waits, and gets 2! I thought he was going to take flight, but it didn't matter. He stayed down low and got the kills he needed. Now, Nightfall traded back a 2v2 here. And with some decay as EU tries to push his way forward. And continues to do so out of U-Haul. Both members of 100 Thieves that remain huddled down long. You're right, bang with that ult.
Oh, that's huge. Both of them, they're seized.
There's no way out. They're cooked. Oh, they're cooked. What a setup from 100 Thieves.
What a combination of utility from Derek and Bang.
100 Thieves spends their first wave of utility on a spread default, gaining map control, playing patient, and reactionary. Eventually, they decide to group towards B, and Skye sends a flash through A short to apply pressure before the hit. This flash could catch someone out of position, not expecting to be hit. They combine all of their utility, and despite it being sloppy, still worked out in the end. It doesn't cost you anything to wait for the utility, and since you have the extra time, I mean, you might as well use it. Also, I just want to point out that Brim Fade combo at the end, it was pretty dirty. Just wanted to point that out. Now that you've seen what this looks like at a professional level, you're probably typing this exact sentence. Teats, where on this earth am I going to find teammates, enemies, or anyone who plays this coordinated? Well, Jimmy, you don't need a lot of coordination for this concept to apply to you. Here, take a look at this example. Let's say that the enemy team is slamming A on Haven, and you're playing, I don't know, Brimstone, backside. You molly off long, and the enemy team stops. If they decide to re-hit, it's most likely going to be at around that 40 or 50 second mark. I mean, I'm sure you've had teams in ranked saying things like, do you guys want to re-hit? Yeah, I got arrow in 20. Let's do it then. This is when that rule applies. So you notice that the enemy team has a Sova, and they start re-hitting. Now, since that you're a good player and watched this video, you knew that this was the timing that they were going to re-hit. So you flick, shoot the arrow, and you're ready to fight with your teammate. I mean, I could sit here and come up with countless examples using any agent on any map and doing whatever, but I hope you understand how important this concept really is. You shouldn't be getting caught off guard by enemies' utility after watching this video. Now let's go back to that retake scenario I was talking about, and let me show you another example. This round comes from a match between Xset and Optic.
5 seconds left, and they're hitting the site. This is going to be a 5v5 retake to start things off.
30 seconds left.
Spike just now making its way in, and you see Victor pushing forward into that smoke, so see if they're able to clear him out. This spot right here has caused so many problems historically. Excellent one crossfire setup out from Optic. Death drops his utility and they swing right into it. First 2 kills go in favor of Optic. The third follows shortly thereafter. As Victor repositions, tries to find some space. Aaron's left alone. And he's not going to be able to do much. Optic takes the pistol.
Remember how I mentioned that if you're playing against a breach, that his stun is going to be recharged when the retake comes? Optic recognizes this, but the issue is that they don't really have any utility to counter it. Instead, they decide to triple swing as soon as the breach stuns. I mean, this play is genius. When breach stuns, you don't expect to get swung, you expect the enemy team to sit there and just take it. You just don't expect this many people sitting near defender spawn, and the enemy team doesn't have any utility to clear all these close angles. So when you don't have utility, banding together and using your guns is just as good, if not better. Now, the only situation that I haven't talked about this yet is in clutches. Being able to recognize who you're playing against, what their abilities are, and how they're going to use them can clutch you up a ton of rounds. Take a look at this round that I clutched on Kayo.
113 on the KO.
One enemy remaining.
Let's go.
Oh my god.
Go.
So the spike is stuck on site, and I'm assuming that someone is watching the smoke. I pop flash out of it, and after killing the Omen, I realized that Kayo is stuck behind Dice. I saw his arm or something. His biggest tool are his flashes. So as soon as I recognize that Kayo is stuck there, I'm expecting him to flash, which allows me to turn it and punish him for swinging. And I saw Sova Heaven earlier, and he hasn't dropped down yet, so I pre-aim exactly where he is, and I finish the clip. Now, I know this isn't exactly the 40-second rule, but the concept still applies. You need to recognize what the enemy has so that you can play accordingly. I knew where the flash was going to come from, so I was able to turn from it and then clutch up the round. I mean, like, if it was a Skye instead, I would have played it the exact same way. And if you really want to be able to clutch up like this, I'm telling you, check us out at SkillCapped.com. We have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries. We have Radiant players to walk you through exactly how to win a wide variety of rounds, even though they look impossible, like this one I just showed you. Also, if you want a chance at having your VOD reviewed by one of us, be sure to subscribe on our website at SkillCapped.com. I'm telling you, it's as close as pay to win that you're going to get in this game. It's also backed by our rank improvement guarantee, and the reason to do that is because you're just that confident that our service works. And if it doesn't work, then you shouldn't pay. So what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose. Head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started on your way to that rank that you deserve. So hopefully you guys now know what the 40-second rule is. Knowing what it's about and how it applies to each specific round could mean the difference between you winning or losing that game. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. And that's all for us. I'm Teets, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.